Continuing from the previous episode 427. Chapter 1356. Saint Shui Dao Ji Yu Qing Yang's group nodded as they watched the figure slowly stand on the large stone mountain. They slowly walked out of the shadows. Looks like there will be an intense battle this time around. Ji Yu Hua bitterly smiled. Fighting with an elite Ban Sheng was quite a crazy thing to do from their point of view. Although the elite Ban Sheng in front of them was merely an energy body, it still possessed the fighting knowledge and Do skills from when it was alive. They might have the advantage of numbers, but it was really difficult to say just who would end up winning. Creak. Ji Yu Xing's large fist was slowly clenched. A creak sound continued to be emitted. At this moment, his somewhat simple and honest face was covered with a seriousness. A powerful but calm, majestic aura surged out of his body. Everyone should be careful. The opponent this time around is not ordinary. Ji Yu Qing Yang softly sighed. Intruders. All of you should be aware of the consequences the moment you step into this place. That figure looked down from the top of the mountain and looked over Xiao Yan's group. His faint voice appeared like muffled thunder that rumbled beside their ears. Xiao Yan's group frowned. They looked at the human figure holding a large scimitar. This person was wearing a dark red robe. His expression was cold and indifferent. There were a couple of scars on his face. He vaguely gave off an extremely powerful, fierce, evil aura. The fierceness and evilness mixed with each other. It was just like a fierce lion that had been bathed in blood, causing one to tremble with fear. Moreover, the thing that caused Xiao Yan's group's heart to sink was that the eyes of this figure were not hollow like the other energy bodies. Clearly, this energy figure possessed a great intelligence. A Ban Sheng without any intelligence was not frightening. The frightening one was a Ban Sheng with intelligence and battle experience. Bang! The feet of that figure stepped on the rock mountain as a frightening force erupted. Immediately, Xiao Yan's group saw numerous 10-foot large crack lines spread like numerous poisonous snakes. They spread all the way down from the mountain top. In the blink of an eye, this stone mountain became shaky. Large rocks fell from the stone mountain one after another. That figure appeared a short distance in front of Xiao Yan in a ghost-like manner. His right hand held his scimitar as his eyes coldly watched Xiao Yan's group. The corner of his mouth slowly lifted with a bloodthirstiness. It has been many years since I have tasted human blood. I have almost forgotten what it tasted like. That figure gently twisted his neck and muttered to himself, "It seems that I should introduce myself before I attack, right? Oh, my name. It seems that I have not mentioned it in a long time." Although I sensed some human auras intrude in the past, they went and hid when they sensed me. Therefore, this is the first time that I have met humans with flesh and blood. My name, it seems to be Saint Shui Dao, right? Have you heard of it? The corner of Xiao Yan group's mouths involuntarily twitched as they looked at the dark red figure, who had lifted his head and threw his eyes at them. This person had been dead for hundreds or thousands of years. Who knew what he was called? Oh, looks like I have been forgotten. This kind of feeling is really unpleasant. I should finish all of you quickly. My bloody blade doesn't seem to be able to endure any longer. That fellow called Saint Shui Dao shook his head somewhat disappointedly when he saw their reactions. His foot immediately shook in an unnoticeable manner. Be careful. Xiao Yan's expression suddenly changed when the foot of that Saint Shui Dao shook. He waved his sleeve and a wind gushed out of it before violently smashing into Ji Yu Zhen's body. The powerful force sent Ji Yu Zhen flying. Kai! A bloody glow appeared from the space where Ji Yu Zhen was earlier with lightning-like speed just after he had been flung backwards. A deep gully formed on the ground. Huh? A surprised voice was emitted from the empty space after its attack missed. Xiao Yan sensed a gaze pausing on his body, causing the hairs all over it to stand. What terrifying speed this person has. Is this the difference between an elite Ban Sheng and a Do Zun? A cold sweat dripped down from Xiao Yan's forehead. His feet swiftly withdrew, after which, he, Xuan Ji Yu Qing Yang, and the rest gathered together. If Xiao Yan's strength had not increased during this 1 year in the heavenly tomb, he would not have been able to discover the attack by Saint Shui Dao earlier. This fellow is indeed difficult to deal with. Ji Yu Zhen also quickly got up from the ground. He dusted off the soil on his body before speaking with a frown. You should be a little gentler next time. In that case, I will allow you to be hacked into two by him. Xiao Yan replied without turning his head. After which, he turned to Ji Yu Qing Yang and Xuan If anyone were to mention levels in this place, these two were likely the strongest. Their 9th star strengths allowed them to overlook many elite Do Zuns. Shall we attack? Ji Qingyang and Xuan nodded. They exchanged glances, and their bodies rushed out at almost the same time. Their hands hurriedly formed many seals as they cried out at the same time, overturning land seal. 2 bright energy light seals were swiftly formed in both of their hands. After which, they ruthlessly shot toward Saint Shui Dao. Small tricks. Saint Shui Dao smiled in disdain when he saw the 2 energy light seals shooting over. The scimitar in his hand slashed through air, and 2 large blade glows tore through the space and broke the 2 energy light seals. The remnant blade force rushed toward the 2 who had attacked. However, they hurriedly dodged the attacks. Bang! After forcing Xuan and Ji Qingyan back, the ground where Saint Shui Dao was standing on suddenly began to sink. An enormous lava pillar violently spluttered out along with a frightening strength. HMPH. Saint Shui Dao let out a cold snort when faced with the enormous lava pillar. His feet violently stomped on the ground. The enormous lava pillar had crumbled under his foot. Hot lava spread in all directions and melted the surrounding large rocks. Flame-splitting tsunami. A figure swiftly appeared behind Saint Shui Dao as an enormous blade glow smashed down in an unceremonious manner. Clang! The scimitar in Saint Shui Dao's hand swiftly danced and formed bloody blade after images behind him, dealing with the ferocious ruler glow from behind. After which, the after images quickly rotated. They not only easily tore through the ruler glow, but they also cut at Xiaoyan without its strength being diminished. Clang! The heavy ruler slammed into the blood-colored blade after images. The powerful force contained in the attack shook Xiaoyan's body back by over a dozen steps before he stabilized himself. What a stupid saint. Do you really think that you are a true Do Sheng? Your skin is really a little thick. Saint Shui Dao did not have the time to give chase after forcing Xiaoyan back when Ji Yu Hua, Ji Yu Xing, and Ji Yu Zhen quickly charged at him. They unleashed powerful Do skills and mercilessly struck at Saint Shui Dao. Ant-like existences dared to challenge the prestige of a saint. Saint Shui Dao coldly laughed when he was surrounded and attacked Ji Yu Hua's trio. He clenched his left hand before suddenly striking it forward. 3 bloodlights turned into 3 fierce tigers with lightning-like speed. They emitted roars and collided with the 3. Grug. After being firmly struck by Saint Shui Dao, the 3 of them spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Their bodies were forced to withdraw. The 3 of them quickly took out an energy core and hurriedly absorbed it while they swiftly pulled back. Attack together! Ji Yu Qingyang cried out in a deep voice. He immediately flashed and rushed forward. Soon after, Xuan Ji Yu Zhen, and the rest once again attacked. The Do Qi in their bodies erupted to their limits. A whistling force cut 1 meter of soil off the ground. The many attacks that erupted in an instant caught Saint Shui Dao off guard. Soon after, he swiftly stabilized himself. The scimitar danced in his hand in an airtight manner. Not only did it block all of the attacks by Ji Yu Qingyang's group, it would also occasionally shoot out a sharp blade glow which caused the few of them to be sent into a flurry. An elite Ban Sheng was indeed extraordinary. Blood Blade Chaotic Wind Tear. After initially being caught off guard when faced with the combined attacks of Ji Yu Qingyang's group, Saint Shui Dao once again unleashed his sharp attacks. His foot stomped on the ground, and his body suddenly began to rotate. It appeared like a blood-red tornado. The surrounding space also collapsed into a black hole in an instant. Bang bang! Sharp blade aura shot out from within the tornado in a lightning-like manner. It directly shook Ji Yu Qingyang's group until they flew backwards. Their bodies heavily smashed onto the surrounding large rocks. That frightening force caused even the large stone to be turned into dust. It is your turn. Saint Shui Dao turned his eyes to Xiaoyan by the side, who was preparing to find an opportunity to attack, after forcing back Ji Yu Qingyang's group. He let out a cold smile as he strode forward and rushed to Xiaoyan. The speed of Saint Shui Dao was extremely fast and fierce. In the blink of an eye, he had already appeared in front of Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan's face changed a little at this moment as his heart suddenly let out a deep cry. Skyfire 3 Mysterious Change. First change. Second change. Third change. After this cry sounded within his heart, the Do Qi within Xiaoyan's body suddenly became wild and violent. Moreover, The itchy feeling between his brows had appeared again. At this moment, he wasn't able to pay much attention to it. The great heaven creation palm was already rapidly brewing in his palm. Kai, the scimitar cut through empty air. However, it suddenly stopped above Xiaoyan's head at this instant. Saint Shui Dao's eyes were staring intently at his brows. A frightened expression surged into his eyes a moment later. Xiao Clan's clan tattoo? You were actually a member of the Xiao clan? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Duh. Continuing from the previous episode 428. Chapter 1357. Tu Do Sheng. You are a member of the Xiao clan. The scimitar that contained a dense bloody scent suddenly came to a stop half a foot above Xiaoyan's head. Saint Shui Dao's eyes were frightened as he stared at Xiaoyan's forehead. His voice actually contained some fear. The great heaven creation palm, which was swiftly gathering in Xiaoyan's palm, also paused because of the strange actions of Saint Shui Dao. Xiaoyan frowned, and his toes pressed on the ground as his body swiftly withdrew. He demanded, "How do you know?" Saint Shui Dao's eyes stared intently at Xiaoyan's brows. The partially visible clan tattoo that had surfaced at that spot earlier had completely vanished. However, his heart clearly understood that this clan tattoo was definitely familiar to him because this clan tattoo appeared as frightening as the devil in his distant memory. Didn't all the members of the Xiao clan die? Saint Shui Dao muttered. His eyes involuntarily swept to the deepest part of the heavenly tomb when he uttered these words. A deep fear flashed across his eyes. What happened? Jiyu Qingyang, Xuan and the rest also rushed to Xiaoyan's side at this moment. They looked at Saint Shui Dao, who had suddenly stopped attacking, as they asked with soft voices full of doubt. I'm not certain. Xiaoyan shook his head, but he did not abandon the caution in his heart. The strength of an elite Ban Sheng was too powerful. Even with many of them joining hands, it would still be extremely difficult to deal with him. If they were careless, it was even possible for their entire group to die here. Jiyu Qingyang also frowned when he heard this. This Saint Shui Dao might only be an energy body, but it still possessed an intelligence and memories from when it was alive. Just what had caused him to feel such fear? This little fellow is actually a member of that Xiao clan. Given the incredible abilities of that person, he has definitely sensed him entering. If I kill him, I will have difficulty escaping that person's murderous desire in the future. Saint Shui Dao's eyes rapidly flickered. A moment later, the bloody aura that spread over his body was slowly withdrawn. His hand was swung and the scimitar disappeared. He glanced at Xiaoyan and ordered him somewhat unwillingly, "Go. Consider yourself lucky this time around." Xiaoyan's group was stunned to hear his words. They exchanged glances with each other. They did not understand why this fellow had suddenly changed his mind. Walk west from here. This narrow path is where many experts gather. You should be able to avoid most of them if you walk to the west, and you will then reach your destination. Saint Shui Dao spoke somewhat impatiently when he saw everyone's flabbergasted expressions. Thank you very much, Elder. Xiaoyan exchanged glances with Jiyu Qingyang and the rest. After which, he hurriedly cupped his hands respectfully to Saint Shui Dao. Subsequently, they slowly stepped back. The Dou Qi in their bodies remained in a state where it could erupt at any time. Only after having withdrawn by over 100 meters and seeing that Saint Shui Dao did not do anything, they sighed in relief within their hearts. They quickly turned around and rushed deeper. Saint Shui Dao watched Xiaoyan's group as they left quickly. Only then did he curl his mouth. His eyes wandered to the deepest part of the heavenly tomb as he muttered to himself, "HMPH, you owe me a favor this time around. You should at least let me off when you come and clear up the place in the future, right? That fellow, he is really strange. Earlier, he was filled with a desire to kill, but then he suddenly turned into a nice person in the blink of an eye." The energy fog spread over the land. A couple of figures shuttled by. Ji Yuhua glanced behind him before speaking with a frown. He seems to have been able to identify that I am a member of the Xiao clan. Xiaoyan's eyes were cautiously sweeping around him as he randomly replied. Each time your aura soars, the clan tattoo of the Xiao clan appears on your forehead. He is a former top expert. How can he not recognize it? Jiyu Qingyang smiled and replied. What? Xiaoyan's body paused when he heard this. He turned his head with a surprised face and asked, what clan tattoo do I have? Don't you know? Ji Qing Yang's group were also surprised when they saw that Xiao Yan appeared even more at a loss compared to them. Ji Qing Yang said, "This clan tattoo seems to only be able to appear temporarily. It disappears pretty quickly. Reasonably speaking, you should not even possess a clan tattoo. A clan tattoo relies on the strength of the bloodline to be activated. However, the strength of the Xiao clan's bloodline has been completely exhausted." Xiao Yan frowned. How could he understand it himself? His forehead had a flame imprint on it, and this flame mark had gradually paled after he successfully swallowed the bone-chilling flame. As for that whatever clan tattoo, he had definitely never seen it before. When my aura is soaring, I am using the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. However, what has that got to do with the clan tattoo of my Xiao clan? Numerous mysteries flashed through Xiao Yan's mind, but he did not find the slightest answer. This caused his frown to tighten. That Saint Shui Dao from earlier is not afraid of the Xiao clan tattoo. This thing does not possess even the slightest strength. A thought flew through Xiao Yan's heart. The reason that he had let us off is likely due to something else. Moreover, this thing should be related to the clan tattoo of the Xiao clan. However, just what was related to the Xiao clan tattoo in the heavenly tomb that could deter Saint Shui Dao, who possessed the strength of a Ban Sheng? It's Xiao Zhan. Shu and Ur by the side suddenly came to an answer. Xiao Yan was still fine when these words were uttered. However, a chilled aura seeped from under the feet of Ji Qing Yang's group. Xiao Zhan had already died for so many years. How could he still terrify this Saint Shui Dao? The heavenly tomb is extremely mysterious. Since an elite Ban Sheng like Saint Shui Dao can survive through any means and possess his spirit from when he was alive, could Elder Xiao Zhan, who reached the peak of the Do Sheng class, also rely on this method to survive? Shu and Ur slowly explained her reasoning. Ji Qing Yang's group was speechless. Their eyes immediately turned to Xiao Yan. Although Xiao Yan's expression remained calm, they could still sense that his heart was fluctuating intensely at this moment. "Let's go. All of these mysteries will be solved when we reach our destination." Xiao Yan softly replied. The speed of their bodies suddenly increased. He transformed into a blurry black line that charged into the faint energy fog. Shu and Ur and the others exchanged gazes behind him before quickly following. During the subsequent journey, Xiao Yan's group followed the path that Saint Shui Dao had pointed out to them. The energy bodies they were sensing had become much stronger. There were some who were even stronger than Saint Shui Dao. However, it was fortunate that Xiao Yan's group had avoided the scanning of these experts by following the gaps between the energy bodies' territories. Thus, they were not hindered along the way. We should have truly entered the deepest region of the heavenly tomb. Xiao Yan's group relied on the chaotic rocky terrain to hide themselves. They rested for a moment before Ji Qing Yang looked at the deepest darkest part and voiced his thoughts. It is indeed worthy of being the most dangerous place. The surrounding energy bodies appear to be too frightening. Even the 9-star energy bodies can only be a guard. Ji Hua bitterly laughed. Being in a place where numerous experts were located, they finally discovered just how weak they were. They were existences that many young clan members of the Ji clan looked up to in the Ji realm. Here, however, they seemed to be ant-like existences. They needed to be careful even when they spoke. The others could only helplessly smile when they heard his words. This place was not a place that they should have come to. Being able to reach this far had already exceeded their expectations. Based on our speed, we should reach the tomb of Xiao Zhan that is recorded in the ancient books very soon. Shu and Ur looked at Xiao Yan and softly informed him. This path is still quite smooth. It looks like that Saint Shui Dao has given us a lot of help. However, this place is indeed too dangerous. We should get moving soon. Xiao Yan nodded and immediately urged. "Aye." The others agreed with these words. They hurriedly stood up, when they had just got up and prepared to once again hurry on their journey. However, a slight rushing wind sound had suddenly appeared in front of them. Immediately, 2 black figures slowly landed on a large rock. They overlooked everyone from above. Their eyes contained a mockery like a cat playing with a mouse. "Xiao Yan, your speed is really a little too slow." The expressions of Xiao Yan's group suddenly changed when they heard this dangerous laughter. They suddenly raised their heads and looked at the 2 figures in the distance. Their faces sank a little. "Han Ya, Han Li. He, I wondered who it was. It is actually you 2 homeless dogs, who had fled before. Why do you have the courage to appear now?" Ji Hua unceremoniously ridiculed the two figures when he saw them. The gloomy-faced Xiao Yan quietly gave a hand signal when Ji Hua uttered these words. The Han Ya duo had been hiding from them. Given their strength, where would they get the guts to openly appear in front of Xiao Yan's group? Anything out of the ordinary definitely meant that something was wrong. Since these two had dared to appear, it was likely that they had something to rely on. Relax, the ones who will be homeless strays this time around will definitely be you. Han Ya strangely smiled in the face of Ji Hua's ridicule, and then Han Li and him slowly withdrew. When they withdrew, two gray-clothed sinister-looking old fellows quietly appeared in front of them in a ghost-like manner. Dou Sheng? An indescribable feeling of danger immediately rose within their hearts when they saw these two gray-clothed old men appear. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 429. Chapter 1358. Appear as Xiao Yan's group's expressions changed, Han Ya's eyes became even darker and colder. He strangely laughed. Do you feel that everything has changed? This relationship between the hunter and the hunted seems to have begun to change. Xiao Yan's group ignored his strange mockery. Their eyes were staring at the two gray-clothed old men in front of Han Ya. Although the bodies of these two people were no different from an ordinary person, their eyes were filled with an emotionless indifference. Xiao Yan's group could still sense that these two old fellows were energy bodies. Just where did these two bastards find Dou Sheng energy bodies? Why would such an expert help them? Ji Hua frowned and softly cursed. Ji Zhen stared at the two elders. A moment later, he shook his head as he said, because these two people are members of the Han clan. Although they have already died, their spirits remained because of the heavenly tomb. It looks like these two fellows have come prepared. Ji Qingyang slowly nodded. He voiced his thoughts, let's separate and flee. Two Dou Shengs. Even though they are just energy bodies, we are no match for them. We will not have even the slightest chance of victory if we fight against them head-on. Everyone was quiet when they heard his words. It was unexpected that they would end up binding themselves this miserable because of these two homeless strays. They had to go through various difficulties to arrive here. Xiao clan has actually not been annihilated, huh? A gray-clothed old man's indifferent eyes paused on Xiao Yan. He spoke while everyone was quiet. Elder Han Diao, the Xiao clan no longer exists. However, this fellow has relied on himself to reach this height. Therefore, you must eliminate him this time around. Otherwise, the Xiao clan might really end up recovering. Han Ya respectfully explained the situation to him. He did not rely on the strength of the bloodline, huh? Surprise flashed through Elder Han Diao's eyes when he heard this. He immediately nodded and said, since this is the case, he should indeed be eliminated. Alright, let's not talk anymore. Kill them and quickly leave. This place is too close to that area. Things might change if we delay. The other gray-clothed elder frowned and spoke in a deep voice. Han Diao's eyes rippled when he heard the other elder's words, causing him to nod. His foot slowly stepped forward. When his foot stepped forward, space itself fluctuated in an intense manner. Circular spatial ripples spread from under his feet. Flee! Ji Qingyang cried out softly when he saw Han Diao move. His body took the lead as he transformed into a ray of light that shot to his left. Xiao Yan and the rest also rushed off on their own at the same time. Their directions were all different. Locke, the gray-clothed elder, who had yet to act, coldly smiled when he saw Xiao Yan's group fleeing. He suddenly clenched his hand, and all the noise within 1,000 feet suddenly stilled. Time seemed to have come to a standstill along with it. The figures of Xiao Yan's group turned into statues within this stilled space. Their rotating eyes revealed a horror. Was this the strength of a genuine elite Dou Sheng? They could control any space at will. Within this space, time or the space itself could be modified by them. Han Ya involuntarily laughed when he saw Xiao Yan's group forced to stop. If they could get all of these fellows to remain here, a great gap would appear within the younger generation of the Ji clan. It would be quite a big blow to an ancient clan like the Ji clan if they lost this kind of precious blood. Bang! While a pleased emotion appeared within Han Ya's heart, an extremely hot golden flame suddenly erupted within the still space. The flame appeared like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The energy that erupted at that instant struck this stilled space until it began to ripple. Bang! A purple-brown flame suddenly erupted in the fluctuating space because of the eruption of the golden flame. As the frightening temperature rose, the offensive ripple that had been strengthened caused the entire space to become unstable. The Do Chi within the bodies of Jiyu Qing Yang and the rest circulated when the space became unstable. They combined their strength and escaped their restraints. However, they did not separate and flee again. Instead, they gathered together with solemn expressions. After the fight earlier, they understood that fleeing did not pose any obstruction to these two elite Do Shengs. It would only cause the resistance on their side to diminish. Huh? Surprise flashed across the eyes of the two gray-clothed old men when they saw Xiao Yan's group rely on their own strength to escape the stilled space. You do indeed possess some ability. However, this is insufficient. Han Diao coldly laughed. He widened his mouth and rolling black clouds surged from it. They agglomerated into black python tens of thousands of feet large with a roar. It swung its huge tail, and Xiao Yan's group could hear crackling sounds emitted from space itself. Empty space was shattered by the attack of this enormous python. Such a frightening attack caused the expressions of Xiao Yan's group to become much uglier. An elite Do Sheng was terrifying, and this was just an energy body. If they were facing a genuine Do Sheng, just how unimaginably terrifying would that battle be? Together, a rich feeling of danger surged into Jiyu Qing Yang's heart when he looked at the enormous black python as it broke through the space and whistled over. With his strength, it was extremely difficult to block the attack of an elite Do Sheng. The difference between Sheng and Zoom was so large that it could blow some people's minds. Everyone nodded when they heard Jiyu Qing Yang's low cry. This kind of death-like danger was something that even Saint Shui Dao from earlier did not give them. If they did not join hands to deal with it, all of them would really end up dying here today. Hu! Xiao Yan exhaled a deep breath. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change was unleashed by him. Energy gathered in a lightning-like manner on his right hand. When faced with an expert of such strength, none of them were given any time to warm up. All they could do was go all out in order to gain the slightest chance of survival. While Xiao Yan was unleashing all his strength, the Do Chi within the bodies of Jiyu Qing Yang, Xuan and the rest also began to surge. Powerful Do Chi pressures lingered beside them like a whirlwind, shattering all the surrounding large stones. Great Heaven Creation Palm. A dark black light spot appeared in Xiao Yan's palm in a lightning-like fashion. It suddenly slammed to life in the empty space in front of him. Kai! The palm landed on empty space. Then a dark black light sphere quickly appeared and swiftly spread out. Silent Destruction Finger. While Xiao Yan had unleashed his Tian-class Do skill, Xuan Jiyu Qing Yang, and the rest also unleashed the same Do skill. It was the Tian-class Do skill that Jiyu Yao had once unleashed back then, the Silent Destruction Finger. An enormous dark black finger broke through the space behind them. After which, the black light sphere and the finger ruthlessly collided with the large black python that had torn through air as it shot over. Bang! The frightening collision resulted in an earth-shaking explosion. A frightening energy storm swept out from the point of collision. The energy storm swept over the sky. An enormous black figure suddenly shot out from within. It ruthlessly slammed toward Xiao Yan's group. Upon closer inspection, it was the snake tail of that enormous python. Although this snake tail was covered with injuries, it had not been destroyed by Xiao Yan's group. The snake tail carried an extremely frightening wind pressure as it ruthlessly swung toward Xiao Yan's group. The sonic boom that was created blasted the ground apart, forming a countless number of large pits. A paleness surged onto the faces of Xiao Yan's group as they sensed the frightening strength of the snake tail. Despite so many of them attacking at the same time using Tian-class Do skills, they were still unable to block it. Let's go all out. Ji Yu Hua clenched his teeth. The ground trembled intensely under the sonic boom. At this moment, it was too late even if they wished to flee. Xiao Yan's expression was gloomy. The heavenly flame in his hand was circulated. He was also aware that he had no other choice but to go all out. Kai! While Xiao Yan's group was preparing to retaliate, the space in the distance fluctuated. A figure suddenly flashed and appeared. With a wave of his sleeve, a gentle force lifted Xiao Yan's group, pulling them to the deepest part of the heavenly tomb with lightning-like speed. Saint Shui Dao? The reinforcement that suddenly arrived caused Xiao Yan's group to be startled. Surprise surged on Xiao Yan's face when he saw the person who had intervened. No one had expected Saint Shui Dao to rescue them. Damn it. Just where did these bastards come from? If that fellow discovers that you were killed here, he will definitely wash everything in blood again. That Saint Shui Dao ignored Xiaoyan's group. His body shot away while he was cursing with a gloomy expression. HMPH, a mere Ban Sheng dares to act atrociously in front of the two of us? Are you seeking death? The sudden unexpected change surprised the attacking duo. They quickly recovered and furiously laughed. They suddenly turned their bodies and cried out, "Lock!" Saint Shui Dao's body suddenly stilled after the angry cries of those two sounded. Surprise also surged onto everyone's faces at this moment. Two elite Dou Shengs were indeed at a level that was far from what he could compare with. You dare to meddle with this little ability? Han Diao's two-man team coldly laughed. Their feet stepped on the empty space as they appeared in front of Saint Shui Dao. Their hands were curled as they ruthlessly slammed toward his chest. If just one fist were to land, Saint Shui Dao would be smashed until nothing remained. However, Han Diao's group's fists were still half a foot from Saint Shui Dao when they suddenly stopped. Who is it? The Dou Sheng duo's expressions changed as they furiously cried out after their fists were halted. It looks like there are still remaining members of the Han clan in this heavenly tomb. A faint voice that was filled with an ancient aura slowly reverberated through everything when the furious cry of the Han Diao duo sounded. The space where the Han Diao duo had still started to collapse when this voice sounded. Xiaozan? A frightened expression surged onto the faces of Han Diao and the other elder when they heard this voice. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 430. Chapter 1359. Xiaozan. Xiaozan? Xiaoyan's body suddenly trembled when he heard the exclamations of the Han Diao duo. The blood flowing within his body suddenly fluctuated in a strange manner. This ripple was extremely familiar. The empty space in front of Xiaoyan's group formed some ripples in front of everyone's eyes as a figure in pale green clothes quietly appeared. The appearance of this figure did not attract any unnatural phenomenon, but it appeared as though everyone present could not endure a punch or a kick from this person. Han clan. What a hateful bloodline. The figure appeared and raised his head, revealing a face that did not appear very handsome, but it caused one to feel that there was something unique. His black hair reached his shoulders and a pair of ink-like eyes were as deep as black holes with an unusual wisdom. It was filled with a charm that caused one to feel intoxicated. Xiaozan. The Huo Diao duo's eyes were staring at the unusually familiar face as shock and horror flashed across their eyes. Although they possessed an extremely great strength, the man in front of them had once stood at the peak of the continent. Only a few across the entire continent could fight with him. Elder Han Diao. Han Ya was a little frightened as he watched this stranger suddenly appear. Although he was not acquainted with this person, he still vaguely sensed the feeling of death. Xiaozan may be very strong, but he is suppressed by the heavenly tomb. It is impossible for him to leave the tomb anytime he likes. He can only leave it once every 10 years and the 10 years have passed. He is not able to reveal himself. Han Diao inhaled a deep breath of air. He suppressed the fear in his heart as he softly reasoned. In other words, the Xiaozan in front is not his actual self? The other gray-clothed old man's eyes flickered as he asked. It is likely only just a show. Han Diao coldly replied. His boldness had become more apparent. Xiaozan might be powerful, but it was impossible for him to scare off the two of them with just a shadow. You do indeed possess good eyesight. The green-clothed man smiled. His black eyes looked at the Han duo in front as he said, however, the two of you have overestimated yourselves. Two one-star Dou Sheng do not even possess the qualifications to speak to me. That green-clothed man slowly lifted his hand after speaking. He gently clenched it while facing the Han duo. Shatter. After this word was spat from the green-clothed man, Xiaoyan's group was immediately startled to see the space within a 10,000-foot radius collapse. A dark invisible hand suddenly formed. After which, it randomly slammed into the Han duo. Bang bang bang. The 10,000-foot large dark black hand gently slammed down as the land appeared to experience an earthquake. It shook as numerous crack lines spread across the ground and extended into the distance. This fiend, why has he come out again? Such a large commotion was naturally sensed by some powerful energy bodies. However, their expressions changed when they sensed that familiar aura. They hesitated for a moment before hiding even the tiniest drop of their auras. Their bodies gradually became illusory before hiding under the land. How is this possible? The eyes of the Hun duo were somewhat stunned as they watched space collapse. Even they were unable to endure such a frightening palm. Run! Faced with the collapsed space and the enormous black hand that was swiftly approaching, the Hun duo sniffed the scent of death that caused their bodies to tremble. Their faces turned pale and they could not be bothered with anything else. One of them grabbed Hun Ya while the other grabbed Hun Li before turning to flee. Bang! However, their speed did not allow them to smoothly escape. Space itself seemed to be shattered by the large black hand. Hence, the two of them had just traveled 1,000 feet when the attack suddenly arrived. Bang! The large hand did not truly strike the two of them. Instead, a frightening wind penetrated space when it was 1,000 feet away from the fleeing figures before landing on the bodies of the Han elders. Their bodies violently shook when faced with this frightening wind. They did not even manage to scream when they emitted a bang and exploded into nothing. The remaining force in the hands of the two elders violently tossed away Han Ya and Han Li before they were blasted into nothingness. They flew far into the distance. Xiao Zhan glanced at Han Ya and Han Li who had been tossed away, but he did not stop them. 8-star Do Zuns were not even comparable to ants in his eyes. Rumble! The enormous hand shattered Hun elders before it smashed into the ground, causing the land to tremble. Dust scattered from all over before settling a moment later. A 10,000-foot large and seemingly bottomless gully appeared in front of Xiao Yan's group in a spectacular manner. Hiss! Xiao Yan's group inhaled a deep breath of cool air as they looked at this bottomless pit. Such a frightening destructive strength was a little too terrifying. This fiend is still as vicious with his attacks. Saint Shui Dao looked at the two Do Shengs who had been turned into nothing by just a palm of this green-clothed man. He involuntarily swallowed a mouthful of saliva, but he also rejoiced a little. Fortunately, he had intervened today. The green-clothed man in the sky randomly finished off the Hun elders. Only then did he turn around. His eyes leapt over Jiyu Qingyang and the rest before finally landing on Xiao Yan. The blood within Xiao Yan's body appeared to flow at a faster rate when the eyes of the green-clothed man landed on him. He forcefully endured the excitement in his heart as he lifted his head. Two pairs of dark black eyes met. Their intertwining eyes lasted for some time. Finally, a smile surfaced on the green-clothed man's face. The smile was not deep, but it gave Xiao Yan a familiar feeling of being connected by blood. Someone from the Xiao clan has finally come. I have not waited for so many years in vain. The green-clothed man stepped through empty space and slowly appeared in front of Xiao Yan. He spoke in a soft voice. That voice contained some pride and relief. This descendant Xiao Yan greets ancestor. Xiao Yan was finally unable to endure the excitement in his heart when he heard the words of the green-clothed man. He knelt on empty air and gave his ancestor the most respectful bow of the Xiao clan. Ha ha, Xiao Yan, a good name. The green-clothed man slightly smiled. He gently helped Xiao Yan to his feet and patted his head. He said, I sensed your presence the moment you entered the heavenly tomb. Your performance along the way has been quite good. Xiao Yan rubbed his head. He was aware of just what kind of great person his ancestor was back then. Being able to obtain such a good evaluation from him was likely a very difficult task. This junior Jiyu Qingyang greets Elder Xiao Zhan. Jiyu Qingyang, Xuan and the rest gave Xiao Zhan a respectful bow and deferentially greeted him. They were clearly aware in their hearts that even the clan head of the Jiyu clan would still have to treat this person in front of them with respect. Members of the Jiyu clan, huh? Xiao Zhan smiled. He glanced at Jiyu Qingyang's group and said, Your Jiyu clan did not fully do as per the agreement that you made with me back then. Jiyu Qingyang and the rest felt some cold perspiration form on their foreheads when they heard his chastising words. They hurriedly replied, Elder Xiao Zhan, merely a small portion of the clan didn't. The clan head has always adhered to the agreement even until now. Xiao Zhan was noncommittal. His eyes suddenly turned to Xuan by the side as he commented, Your bloodline is very similar to Jiyu Yuan. Jiyu Yuan is my father. Xuan respectfully replied. Her pretty eyes were somewhat uncertain as they looked at Xiao Zhan. He could be considered Xiao Yan's elder and possessed absolute authority. She naturally did not wish to give the other party a poor impression of her on their first meeting. She did not wish to do this even though the current Xiao Zhan was no longer a truly living person. You were actually that fellow's daughter. No wonder you possess the divine bloodline. It is really the case of the next generation being more outstanding than the previous. Xiao Zhan nodded. His eyes suddenly swept over Xiao Yan and Xuan before saying to no one in particular, however, my Xiao clan still gained the advantage. Xuan pretty face flushed red with embarrassment after hearing the meaning in Xiao Zhan words. You should return first. In the future, you will continue to exist in the heavenly tomb. Xiao Zhan glanced at Saint Shui Dao and indifferently spoke. Thank you, Elder Xiao Zhan. Saint Shui Dao rejoiced upon hearing this. He hurriedly cupped his hands in a respectful manner. There were too many energy bodies in this heavenly tomb, and quite a number of them were stronger than him. However, with Xiao Zhan's words, those powerful existences would not dare to target him. After uttering those words, Saint Shui Dao wisely decided not to stay any longer. He cupped his hands to Xiao Yan's group and then turned into a ray of light that hurried into the distance. Let's head to the tomb. Due to the heavenly tomb, I cannot leave often. The thing that you are seeing now is just a shadow that I have projected. Xiao Zhan explained when he saw Saint Dao Shui leave. The hearts of Jiyu Qing Yang's group were shocked when they heard these words. A mere shadow was able to kill two one-star Do Sheng energy bodies with the raise of a hand. If this was his actual body, would it not possess a frightening strength that could annihilate the world? I think that you have many things that you are uncertain about, right? Follow me. I have waited for too long for this day. Xiao Zhan's eyes shifted to Xiao Yan. He smiled slightly and spoke in a soft voice. An excitement rose within Xiao Yan's heart when he heard these words. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 431. Chapter 1360. Bloodline Inheritance. Xiao Yan's group followed Xiao Zhan to the deepest region of the heavenly tomb before they gradually came to a stop. Their surroundings were as black as ink because there was almost no light. One appeared to be standing in the empty realm as a kind of lost, panicked feeling rose within one's heart. This is the deepest part of the heavenly tomb. Xiao Zhan smiled as he spoke. He pointed to an ancient stone tablet in front. This tablet stood in this dark black region in a lonely manner. It was quiet and lonely, appearing as though it had existed for a long time. This is my tomb. Xiao Yan's eyes followed the direction Xiao Zhan had indicated and saw an ancient stone tablet. Even though a countless number of years had passed, the stone tablet still emitted an aura that could not be described. This kind of aura was not intense, but it caused one's soul to feel a flutter that could not be stopped. The four of you should train outside the stone tablet. This place is where the energy in the heavenly tomb is the most dense. Other energy bodies do not dare to enter this area. Therefore, you need not worry about your safety. Xiao Zhan looked at Jiyu Qing Yang's group as he spoke. Jiyu Qing Yang's group looked at each other after hearing this. All they could do was smile bitterly and nod their heads. The only thing they could do when dealing with this person, who was once a top expert, was to completely obey him. Xiao Yan and that girl from the Jiyu clan, follow me. After randomly settling matters with Jiyu Qing Yang's group, Xiao Zhan turned to Xiao Yan and Xuan. After which, he placed both of his hands behind him and slowly walked into the stone tablet. His body swiftly became pale as he disappeared upon contact with the stone tablet. Xiao Yan gently exhaled when he saw this. He extended his hand to Xuan and smiled as he said, "Let's go." The anxiousness in Xuan heart completely disappeared as she looked at Xiao Yan's smile. She obediently extended her soft hand and placed it in Xiao Yan's palm, allowing him to pull her along as they slowly walked to the stone tablet. Xiao Yan, take good care of Xuan. Jiyu Qing Yang cupped his hands and spoke in a deep voice as he watched Xiao Yan and Xuan walk toward the stone tablet. He knew that Xiao Yan would likely spend most of his time inside the tomb after entering it. All of you should also take care. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. He extended his hand and gently touched the stone tablet. A bloodline connection was emitted from the stone tablet as a circular light scattered from the stone talisman, wrapping around Xiao Yan and Xuan. Finally, the light scattered, and their figures completely disappeared. Jiyu Qing Yang and the rest looked at each other after watching the two of them disappear. All they could do was bitterly laugh before softly sighing, "Forget it, given Elder Xiao Zhan's ability, he will not do anything to Shu and Let's just quietly wait here for them to come out. Ji Qing Yang shook his head. After which, he randomly found a stone platform and sat down. He gradually entered his training state. Ji Zhen and the other two could only nod their heads when they saw him sit down. They each found a spot and began to train. The light that filled one's eyes slowly disappeared. Xiao Yan and Shu and slowly opened their eyes. Xiao Yan looked at the ancient house that had appeared in front of him, and he involuntarily became a little absent-minded. It was unexpected that this simple and ordinary tablet actually hid such a mysterious place. It was indeed worthy of being an elite Dou Sheng's resting place. Xiao Zhan stood with his hands behind him in the middle of the large hall in front. There was a clear pond in front of him. Numerous green lotuses were suspended on it, emitting a faint relaxing fragrance. Can you tell me about the situation of the Xiao clan? Xiao Zhan sighed when he heard the soft sound of footsteps behind him. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment when he heard this request. Finally, he said with honesty, the Xiao clan no longer exists. There is only the declined Xiao family left. Xiao Yan structured his thoughts after uttering these words. After which, he spoke in detail about the various unexpected changes of the Xiao clan during these years. Xiao Zhan slowly nodded after the last word sounded. His face did not reveal much emotion. The decline of the Xiao clan is something that I had already expected. At the very least, there are still descendants remaining. It has not reached the point of despair. Xiao Zhan's voice was gentle, appearing to possess a demonic strength. He seemed to recall some things while Xiao Yan, who had become a little emotional, once again became calm. Do you have anything that you wish to ask? Xiao Zhan looked at Xiao Yan and asked a question with a smile. Is Ancestor really still living now? Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment before asking. If Xiao Zhan were able to live in another form, the Xiao clan would prosper. With such a peak expert, it was likely that even the Han clan would have to be cautious. Xiao Zhan looked at Xiao Yan. A moment later, he slowly shook his head and said, what you are seeing now is merely a remnant part of my soul. When I died back then, I had instructed some people to deliver me to the heavenly tomb. Only then could I take on this current form and await your arrival. However, this is only limited to the heavenly tomb. I will immediately disappear once I leave here. Disappointment flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes when he heard this information. He bitterly laughed. The strength of the current Xiao clan is too weak. Having lost the bloodline strength, we are unable to fight with the other ancient clans. Someone like me is considered unusual to them. When the Xiao clan was still around back then, I had already sensed that the Dou Di bloodline was about to be exhausted. You should understand that if the bloodline strength was becoming exhausted back then, the Xiao clan would have been annihilated by those enemies with ill intent. Xiao Zhan lifted his head. His eyes seemed to be recalling a distant memory. The only way to replenish the Dou Di bloodline is for another Dou Di to appear, but this is too difficult. The me back then was a little too arrogant and did not think that I would be blocked in front of the Dou Di class. After discussing with the many elders within the clan, we decided to stake everything. We used a secret technique and transfer most of the bloodline strength within the clan to my body. I understand that it was the final hope of all the clan members. Xiao Zhan inhaled a deep breath of air. Some pain finally surfaced on his face. He had disappointed all the members of the Xiao clan. But I still ended up failing. When I was attempting to advance to the Dou Di class, the Han clan launched a sneak attack. I ended up seriously injured, and I died. Xiao Yan was quiet when he heard Xiao Zhan's self-reprimanding sigh. A moment later, he softly said, that was the last method. If the bloodline strength was allowed to be exhausted, the Xiao clan would have difficulty escaping being destroyed. No one in the Xiao clan would ever blame you for this. However, if the strength of the bloodline has been exhausted, why is it that the clan tattoo has appeared on me? Xiao Yan suddenly rubbed his brows and doubtfully asked. The clan tattoo of the Xiao clan is not bestowed by another, it is created by oneself through training. Xiao Zhan smiled and continued, I can sense the Skyfire 3 mysterious change on you because I was the one who created it. It is unexpected that you have accidentally obtained it. I remember that I gave it to the Burning Flame Valley back then. The word, fate, is indeed unpredictable. Xiao Yan revealed a stunned face when he heard these words. A moment later, he suddenly recalled the name that he had seen when he was inheriting the Skyfire 3 mysterious change at the Burning Flame Valley. Xiao Zhan? That Xiao Zhan there is the ancestor of the Xiao clan. The matters of this world is really unbelievable. Of course, the Skyfire 3 mysterious that you practice is still lacking the final step. It is precisely because it is lacking this final step that you have been unable to create a clan tattoo. Xiao Zhan softly explained, and excitement immediately surged within Xiao Yan's heart when he heard this. His eyes looked at Xiao Zhan with anticipation. Ha ha, relax. I have waited alone for so many years in order to hand everything to you. This final step of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change will naturally be handed to you. Xiao Zhan shook his head and smiled when he saw Xiao Yan's excitement. However, even if you form the clan tattoo, it is difficult to truly unleash it to its peak without the support of the bloodline strength. Xiao Zhan voiced his thoughts. Since it is called the clan tattoo, there must naturally be a bloodline strength as a source. Xiao Zhan nodded as he observed Xiao Yan's eyes dim. He smiled and stepped into the pond before walking to the middle. With a wave of his hand, one could see the water of the pond slowly rotate. Following the swirling of the pond water, numerous bloodlights were slowly emitted from Xiao Zhan's body. Finally, they followed his legs and entered the pond water. Following the numerous unusual blood light rays entering the pond, the clear water began to gradually turn blood red. At a glance, it appeared just like a pool of blood. At the same time, Xiao Zhan's black hair began to gradually turn white. His face had also become old. Xiao Yan's expression changed when he saw this change. He was just about to speak when Xiao Zhan, who was still in the pond, slowly shook his head. He smiled and said, "Back then, I used all of my strength to preserve some of the Do Di bloodline, and I used many techniques to seal it. All that I was hoping for was to once again create a clan member who possessed the bloodline strength. The current me is only a remnant soul. All I can do is drift in this heavenly tomb. The matter of revitalizing the Xiao clan can no longer be completed by me. However, the heavens do not wish for my Xiao clan to end. I believe that you will do better than me." Xiao Yan felt an ache in his heart when he looked at the aging Xiao Zhan, whose eyes had become much gentler. He could sense that this ancestor of the Xiao clan, who had possessed a shocking talent, had carried a big burden. This bloodline strength also possesses some of the energy that I had sealed away when I was alive. My descendant, hopefully, you will be able to complete the promise that I have made to the members of the Xiao clan back then. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.